Hello, everyone. Lovely evening, lovely afternoon, lovely morning, wherever it is you're watching from. Welcome to David the Nomadness. This is the final and the concluding part of the series as regards the electric vehicle. It's a three-part series of the cost of owning an electric vehicle in 2025 from the perspective of a household with two different electric vehicles. We've discussed a lot in the first episode on the first part, the second part. This is the concluding part. In the part two, I ended the discussion on the things you need to look out for when choosing an electric vehicle. So these parts would not be as long as the previous ones. It's a concluding part. However, these are very important aspects I will still need to discuss about. So please stay tuned. Now, in this part, we'll be discussing about how to efficiently or wisely use your EV to save costs, because nowadays you can easily very efficient for you to say you want to use an electric vehicle as regards to gasoline. I'll give you a bit of a background story. I said previously, one of the reasons why you shouldn't get a vehicle that is out of warranty in terms of EVs, because if it has a problem with the battery or the engine and you're having to take it to a garage to fix, you can as well just say you want to scrap the car, because the cost for changing a whole EV battery will be very close to the cost of you buying a brand new vehicle, the same one. So during the time when the vehicle was, at the garage to change its battery because its battery packed up due to flooding, I had to use the third car of the house, which was, we call it the gasoline guzzler, because due to the failure of practicality that other of the two EVs we have in the house we had to get a third car, which is a diesel powered car. We'll put the picture up there. Very practical, very spacious. It could easily fit in 7 people in this vehicle and you wouldn't even know, with a lot of boot space after that. So I had to fall back to the use of gasoline, and it made me realize how much I've saved over the past 2 years plus. In fact, over the past 3 years plus that I've been using my electric vehicle. Now, for about 1 month, it was about 1 month, the car was in the service for fixing. I spent over £350 for fuel, because I travel a lot as a travel nurse. I travel a lot, and I spent about £350, and it made me realize I wouldn't have spent a fraction of that amount if it was, the electric vehicle I had to use rather. So yeah, I would say one of the most efficient ways to wisely use an electric vehicle to save cost is by getting a dual tariff, or a specialized tariff that is specially made for electric vehicle. There are so many energy providers out there. We use British Gas. They don't sponsor this video, by the way. And a lot of them have different tariff rates. But one thing I've realized is that their EV tariffs are always very good. They always have 2 different rates for their electric vehicle tariff. The day usage is always a bit pricey, and then the night usage is well subsidized, meaning they expect you to come back from work, plug in your car, go to sleep. Your car is fully charged by the next day at a fraction of the cost. So yeah, you want to make sure you get a tariff that is EV friendly, not just a single phase tariff where the same rates that you spend for your household electricity usage is the same rate you will be charging your car with. With that, you will notice that the price difference between you and someone using a petrol powered car would not be much at all. So you don't want to fall for that. Then also, how to efficiently or wisely use your EV is to make sure you lease. I've mentioned that earlier on. I won't delve much into that. Don't buy. Always invest your cash. Even if you have the cash to buy, do not buy an EV. I won't advise you. Even any car, do not buy, because they are depreciating assets. I can advise you to buy a house because it would always appreciate, except during recession. I can advise you, to buy stocks and all those stuff. But when it comes to a depreciating asset like a vehicle, please do not, unless it's all these high-end vehicles like the Lamborghinis and co. even they themselves still depreciate, just that they don't depreciate as fast as, all our everyday today vehicle nowadays. Another way to efficiently and wisely use your EV is to plan your trip ahead. If you're traveling a long distance, there are so many apps out there for you to be able to use to plan your trip. One of them is a better route planner. That's just as the name goes, ABRP, a better route planner, they call it. You just tell you just put in the app where you're going to. It will ask you the model of your car, how old it is, then calculate based on the weather condition that you will be traveling on, the topography of where you're traveling through, which is how many hills are you climbing, how many valleys are you driving into, because hills tends to drain your battery more, valleys tends to give you better battery range. So I won't go into that because so many YouTube channels are out there to tell you all those. But you want to choose plan your trip, like I said earlier on. Now, if you're using some vehicles like the Tesla EVQs, some recent vehicle models, if you input where you're going to, it automatically calculates, oh, due to your range, you won't be able to get to where you're going to. But if you get to this charging station, charge for so number of minutes, and leave at so number of time, you'll be able to continue your trip and still get to where you're going to with so number of battery percentage left in your vehicle. Now, not all cars can do this, only a very selected few, but I've noticed as we see new models come out, most of them tend to do this thing. Now, if you use a car that doesn't have this ability yet in terms of an EV, you need an app like the ABRP, because if you just put your location into Google Map and say, let's go, Google Map will believe you can get there. It won't put into consideration the battery drain. It won't put into consideration the charging port that you want to use. It won't put into consideration if the charging port is even still functional. So you need apps, third-party apps like a better route planner to plan your trips wherever you're going to, because it will bring me to the fourth point. Not all electric vehicle chargers out there are friendly. Not all of them are good. They all deliver the same electricity, but at different price range. I've been to very good and very pocket-friendly EV chargers out there, and I've been to very horrible ones out there. Like the recent one that I visited, because I had to go to work one of these days with my wife's Kia Soul, and I had to charge it before returning home. I got to a charging station, and the unit price for every kilowatt hours was about 80 pence for every 8 kilowatt hours, and it was huge, because averagely Instavolt will be giving you about 63 pence, 50 pence, and Tesla charging network will be giving you as low as about 30 pence to charge for every kilowatt. And now imagine that to 80 pence, and that is for a slow charging network. And to even make it worse, the deposit, because if it was an EV charger that you want to charge out there, that you want to use out there, they take a deposit from your account and then refund you whatever it is after subtracting how much you actually used. Now, this same EV charger charged me about 80 pounds. They removed 80 pounds from my account before they even allowed me to start charging, as high as their station was. And it was just a horrible experience. So yeah, you want to plan your trip to avoid those kind of chargers, because using a trip planner, like I mentioned earlier, will tell you how much it will cost, how much this charging station in this location would charge you, if you are to say you want to charge here, or use another charging station. So you need to plan your trip. Also, you need to put into consideration the electric vehicle chargers out there, and then get an EV that is still in warranty. That's another very efficient way of using an EV, because you don't want it to have a problem where you have to change a major part of the vehicle, because that major part, like the battery and the motor, which is the only thing, I would say about 90% that all other things are just proprietary. So if you say you want to get an EV that is out of warranty and one of those major parts has a fault, you are in for it. You can either say you want to scrap that car, or if you love the car so much, you can decide to just pay out of pocket, which is always huge, to be able to replace that thing. So get a car that is still in warranty. And then the final aspect of efficiently using an EV is to make sure your tires are in the correct pressure. Now, one thing I've realized over the years is that tires tend to lose their pressure as the months progress. If you the last time you checked your tire pressure of your car was during the summertime, if you check during the winter, it would have reduced in pressure. And due to the winter, you have to make sure that the pressure, because if your tire is not in the correct pressure, it won't drive efficiently. If the tire has a lower pressure than the manufacturer wants it, it will be dragging. And if the tire is at a higher pressure than the manufacturer wants, you will notice that the grip on the road will be very poor because you've ballooned the tire, just as to put it in a simpler term. So make sure that the tires are in correct pressure, and make sure that you use the correct EV tires. Now, there are tires out there. There's electric vehicle tires and there's normal gasoline tires. Do not, I will repeat, do not make a mistake of using a gasoline vehicle tire for an EV. It will make your efficiency bad, because gasoline powered tires are heavy as compared to electric vehicle tires. And also, electric vehicle tires tend to work with higher pressures as compared to gasoline vehicles, because electric vehicles are heavier than gasoline. So they tend to work with higher PSI, or higher tire pressures as compared to, so you don't want to use a gasoline tire or just any cheap tire out there for an EV. I've noticed most EV tires are more expensive than gasoline counterparts. So you might want to fall into the trap of buying a gasoline car tire, saying tire is tire. No. For an EV, always make sure you get an EV tire for an EV. And then also, tires have different grades. The higher the grade, the higher the efficiency. There's band A, just as we have in EPC rating for house. There's band A during wet period, there's band A during dry period, there's B, there's C, there's D. Now, depending on how efficient they are, the color code, meaning band A tires are more expensive and are always coded in green. They will write it on the tire, if you're on the label of the tire. If it is B, it's slightly green, but it's not as green as A. If it is C, you start seeing yellow. If it is D, you start seeing orange. If it is E, F, you see red, meaning, the tire is not efficient. The more efficient the tire is, the higher the band. So you want to get a tire that is around that band A and band B, both in dry and wet condition. And if you have the cash and you want to spend more, you can get the extra quiet tires, you understand. But if you don't mind the tire noise and co, make sure you get the band A or band B tires, because it will determine how far you can travel. All these little things determine how efficient and how far you can travel in your electric vehicle. I will end this video here. Thank you very much for watching the 3 parts if you did. Be sure to subscribe, because there will be more things I will be discussing on this channel. Remember to switch on your bell icon. Remember to like the video. It encourages me to create more of these videos out there for you. I also have a sister channel out there that I would like to introduce you to. It's about my, my experience, my journey around various parts of England. If you would like to just see me drive around various parts of England, I would put the link in the description below. So just click on the link, subscribe to the channel. I've already created the video of my drive around Sheffield, Leeds, and some other parts of England. Just watch if you're the type that just love travel. Thank you very much once again. We'll see you